Hello and thank you for joining us on Politics Today on Channels Television. I'm Sheon Walking Baloye. Let's start with a review of some of the past week's top political stories. The Osun State Governorship election may have come and gone, but the ripple effect of the aftermath of the election is still raging and turbulent too. Well, this time around, what we've seen is that the two top parties in the race, the APC and the PDP, went to court, and what they asked the court is a permission to inspect ballot materials. The court granted them permission to do that. Just this past week, Monday, was the very first day of the inspection, and what happened was the verbal battle between the APC lawyer and the PDP lawyer. But again, on Tuesday, it went beyond just verbal battle. It went to what we saw as a fisticuff between both lawyers. Well, the NBA has waded in and said that they will investigate the matter. The new NBA president, Mr. Alegeh, says that he has asked one of the executive members of the NBA to investigate, set up a committee to investigate whether or not these two men are lawyers, licensed lawyers, and if they're found guilty of indiscipline in that particular conduct, they will be sanctioned. That's what the NBA is saying. Well, it was something that went beyond just the ordinary. What we saw between both of them, they almost left the business of inspecting the ballot materials into beating themselves up. Well, away from that, it was it's said to have been at the end of affairs at the Labour Party for about a decade. But now it says that he's stepping down. That is the Labour Party National Chairman, Chief Dan Nwanyanwu. This time around, that he says that he won't seek re-election, although the Constitution permits him. The NEC meeting came at a time so many people were saying the governor of Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko, is on his way out of the party. So it looks like the party was in trouble considering the news of the chairman stepping down and the talks of the only governor of the party defecting to another party. Governor Mimiko was present at the NEC meeting, although he did not respond directly to journalists' questions on him leaving the Labour Party, where Channels Television sought to find out exactly what the future of the governor of Ondo State, Dr. Mimiko, is going to be in the Labour Party. And we spoke with the spokesperson of the governor, Mr. Eni Akinshola, and he spoke to us on what is the next thing for the governor of Ondo State.
He has been consulting with his friends, his political associates, both within the Labour Party and across the country on the next line of action. If the truth must be told, we have a national election ahead of us, and all forces that are lovers of peace in this country, that are lovers of progress in this country, that are lovers of growth and development in this country must look at ways of working together to maintain some of the achievements of the past and to build on them. So alignment will always come, but I can assure you that as soon as any decision is made by Mr. Governor, he will let the world know. He has never hidden that fact that he is a supporter of President Goodluck Jonathan. He has never hidden that fact that if we remove all the blackmail, all the propaganda from the body politics, the achievements of President Goodluck Jonathan are there for all to see.
That was Eni Akinshola, spokesperson of Governor Mimiko in Ondo State, clearing the air about whether or not the governor is leaving the Labour Party. Well, away from that story, zoning appears to be the order of the day in Nigeria's politics. In most of the states, this seems to be there seems to be some agreement in some parties on which part of the state their candidate will emerge. We have seen the PDP in Akwa Ibom State as an example. Abia State PDP too is no exception. And Lagos in the southwest, the ruling party APC now looks set to want their candidate to come from Lagos South Senatorial District. Well, take a look at this man, Akiambode. He has come out to say that he wants to run. He's an aspirant and is the first making the bold move to come out to the public. He has set up an office for his campaign and set up a grassroots support group for himself so that he can run in the race. Let me show you some faces that you may have seen on the program before, some of the aspirants that have shown up in this particular race. The current Commissioner for Works in Lagos State, Obafemi Hamzat, his name is coming up, and the current Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Adeyemi Ikuforoji, is another man, and again Senator Ganiyu Solomon is another name coming up in this particular race, and of course Akinwumi Ambode and Abike Dabiri. These are some of the names that topping the list for the Lagos APC governorship race. But let's flip the page down and let's go to the PDP. Let's take a look at some of these faces. You may have seen them and they are familiar with to you. One of them is the man who ran in the last governorship election, Mr. Dosumu, and of course you know him. And again, another person is Babatunde Gbadamosi, is also a PDP chieftain who everybody. Segun Ogundimu is also another aspirant in the PDP in Lagos. And another man is Dominic Adegbola, and the new entrant into the party in that particular race is Jimmy Agbaje. These are some of the faces, and of course, Adedeji Akindahati. They are some of the PDP governorship candidates that we have seen. Well, away from that, 2015 governorship election, of course, everybody knows that Lagos State is a big deal when we talk about that. Well, the controversy over the reallocation of polling units in Nigeria as done by INEC is still generating loads and loads of reaction. Last time on the program, my guest and a spokesperson of INEC debated on the sensibility of the Commission's latest move. But the chairman of INEC, Professor Atari Jega, has come out to defend the move. Here is what he said.
There is no political advantage in the creation of polling units to any individual, to any party, or to any region. If there is any advantage, it is to the voter. It makes it easier for voters in a polling unit than so far they have had it in the conduct of election.
Was what the professor, the INEC chairman, says. Meanwhile, a group of elder statesmen from southern Nigeria has asked the INEC chairman to resign. The reasons are that the differences in their location puts the north at an advantage over the south, and that there are no justifications for the additional polling units. You know, polling units are the very basis of an electoral process, and for those who are in tune with Nigeria's political history, you will remember the election of 1983 and some of the aftermath of the process. Well, and a particular quote from the judgment delivered between Akin Omoboriowo and Adekunle Ajasin by Justice Muhammad Bello succinctly underlines the gravity of INEC's polling unit reallocation exercise, and it sure can determine how votes could swing. Take a look at what Justice Bello says in that particular judgment. He says, polling booths at the base of the pyramid, which forms the electoral process under the provisions of the Electoral Act 1982. The booths are the roots which nourish the whole electoral process. That according to Justice Muhammad Bello on the 9th of January 1984. So since INEC says the reallocation move is just a proposal, I guess it's a move the Commission needs to properly look into and perhaps make some adjustments, since it's generating loads and loads of controversies. Well, in the next 5 months, Nigerians will warm up to decide who becomes their president at the 2015 February polls. But we've seen a lot of quiet in the past month, which is somewhat unusual, about the candidates that will emerge from the political parties. Well, if President Jonathan was given another chance to fly the PDP's flag, well, it shouldn't be just quiet as it is, But within the APC, some names have come up, some of which are perhaps obvious suspects to run in the party's primaries. Let me give you an idea of some of them. Of course, you may also have an idea of them. Muhammadu Buhari is one. He ran on the platform of the CPC in the 2011 poll. Another man whose name has come up is the former governor of Kwara State, Senator Bukola Saraki. Another person that you perhaps are familiar with now is Isaiah Inda Isa. Okay, another person that you may be familiar with is Governor Wamako. Well, these are some of the names that you may be familiar with. But for the PDP, this time around, it's only one name that we know, and is, in fact, the president has not come out to say he's going to run. Whenever he runs, anyways, the race looks so much like a king contest. Well, on the program tonight, there's been a lot of clamor for President Jonathan to run, and there's been a lot of talk about the 2015 contest, where rotational presidency has been a debate in Nigeria's politics for a long time. One man who has been at the forefront for fighting and clamoring for the Igbo presidency is a former governor of Abia State, and he also a man who was responsible for the forming of the Progressive People's Alliance, PPA, is Governor Orji Uzor Kalu, and is my guest on the program today. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Well, Dr. Orji Uzor Kalu is my guest on the program, and we'll be discussing so many issues on the program. We'll go for a short break, and when we return in a bit, we get talking. Join us again.